contractors, service providers, for a number of activities. So our coming here is, it's a pleasure to government as well as to MIRO, because this agreement is truly going to see how we are able to bring in industry and to the mainstream of our economic development agenda. So it is a pleasure to have the MIRO representative here. Dupa has been very, very, very good at the lobbies. It has been a difficult journey, but we finally got it through. When last we passed the agreement in Parliament, when I called Dupa to say that Dupa, finally this agreement has been passed, he was really very happy, just like I was. So it is on that note. And of course, you know the story behind the Ministry of Trade. We are not actually going to talk about that. We're here to sign the agreement. I'm sure by next week we're also going to have we're going to be part of that press conference, because what we've done in the last 2 days in terms of price control, I know a couple of journalists will be here to ask questions. Minister, we saw you out there yesterday. Well, we're doing it because we want to do it in the best interest of Sierra. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I now have the pleasure to invite Leone Agro-Industry to is currently the Business Operations Manager, to make a brief statement before the signing.
Thank you very much, everybody. Yes, my name is Leone. I'm the Business Operations Manager for MIRO Forestry in Sierra Leone. MIRO started way back in 2012, a small operation with 10 people. Today we are standing at 1,478 people we employ. As the Honourable Minister said, we've got our coal plant that is now currently running. We've got our EGB sawmill that is now running and supplying EGB not just locally, but we have just started our first exports. But I think the significance of this amazing agreement that's been signed is that now the next phase starts. And we discussed in detail, the industry in Sierra Leone and plywood and importing plywood, that I would honestly say is not always of the best quality, and the import costs are massive. So on top of the 1,400 odd individuals that we are employing now, we will be doing groundbreaking on the plywood mill in the next couple of months. It will be, I call it the size of a football field, because it will be 450 meters wide by 500 meters long. So one of the biggest in West Africa, and that will add another 670 jobs to our list. We have been training staff in our sawmill non-stop, 2 shifts a day, to prepare some of the individuals there to be able to move into more senior positions when the plywood mill is running. So as MIRO, we are just very, very honored to be standing here today. We feel that we can make a massive impact on the economy of Sierra Leone. We are not a company that is going to be going away. We plant our trees, it's close to 8,000 hectares now, and we are planning on 1,000 hectares a year more. And the next phase, as the Honourable Minister said, is we will be looking at what we call the outgrow scheme, where individuals in this country, business people, anybody with land can approach us. We will obviously offer the expertise to assist individuals to start planting, because when the plywood mill starts running, we will need a lot of wood, and not just for the next year, but for the next 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Our blocks are planted, and the first section that was started in 2012 is now obviously being harvested. As we move to the next block, which we call Block B, we will then be replanting Block A. So it's a cycle that can continue for as long as we want it to. We have a positive impact on the environment. We are fortunate that we are already starting to sell carbon credits to companies worldwide. So we do produce, as the Honourable Minister said, enough oxygen where we are based now for companies overseas to start buying it. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and this is truly a tremendous day for MIRO. And next phase is our plywood mill, and we are very, very excited to be able to offer Sierra Leone plywood at a rate that's far less than what the country is importing it now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Trade and Industry will bring now the document for signing. The reason why we are doing this public signing is to enhance transparency and accountability. Before it's signing, members of the press are briefed about why they are signing and what entails in that document. And following the signing, we'll take another issue. I know members of the press have to go to bed, so in that you have your deadlines, I make sure we keep to time. So just in also whilst the signing is ongoing, we also have the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development here with us. And you may have heard about the Local Government Amendment Bill 2022. It's going to highlight key areas in that and the significance of that to this country and why we need this amendment at this time. And we also have with us here members of the Leone Insurance Commission. They want to talk about the rumor making the rounds on social media regarding Sierra Leone's suspension from ECOWAS brown card scheme. So a lot of issues here for you, and you may have the opportunity to ask questions. And I'm going to also limit questions to not more than 3, at most 4 from the floor. So because I'm conscious about your time of also going to bed, I will not let you go, grow impatient somehow. So after the signing, we'll see the permanent secretary handing over the document and the official, they will pass it here. Can you come forward, please, so that members of the press can have a snapshot, an exchange of the document? After 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. You should hand there. Thank you. Thank you. You can take your seat. Quickly, we have also with us here, like I said, the Minister of Local Government. He has, according to our protocol, 10 minutes to highlight and summarize the later the PS will talk about something very, very important, a bank that will be enhancing trade in the country. I'll give him just 5 minutes after the the Minister of Local Government. We now invite Ambassador Tomba Lamina from the Local Government Ministry and Rural Development to take us through about the Local Government Amendment Bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the 4th Assembly State. Well, we are here as a Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, to announce that on the 8th of February 2022, Parliament debated and passed an Amendment Act of 2022. The Local Government Act that is currently being used was passed in 2004. And Section 7 of that Act indicates the tenure of office of mayors, chairpersons, and councillors. That Act stipulated that the tenure of office was 4 years. The amendment bill which was taken to Parliament sought to extend the term of office from 4 years to 5 years. We are pleased to announce that this happened on the 8th of February 2020. The importance of the ratification is that this change and bringing the tenure in line with all other public elections offices vis-a-vis the presidential and the parliamentary would now make the timing of local government elections a permanent fixture as 5 years. Hitherto, even though the Act stated that the tenure of office was 4 years, as a nation, we've always sought an extension of the time. If you can recall, in 2018, all elections were conducted together. Also, in 2012, all elections were conducted together. And these extensions do not augur well for our democratic credential. With this change, it now strengthens our governance and democratic credential that what we say in the Act is what happens in practice. I have to inform that the rationale for this is simple for the extension. Simply, the sum total of all electoral engagements and processes makes electoral activities a very expensive activity. It does not make economic sense for a developing nation like ours to spend almost the same amount of money to conduct local government elections and then a year after conduct parliamentary and presidential elections. It is wasteful, and we do not even feel that our judicial fingerprints would have the credibility, especially with our development partners and all of our other supporting partners. Again, I repeat, this change makes it a permanent fixture in tandem with presidential and parliamentary elections. As soon as this enactment receives the assent of His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, it will become law extant. That is from now ongoing. I think that's the short news I needed to inform you about. It prevents legalities, petitions here and there to say we haven't conformed with the law. His Excellency the President has always stated that strengthening democratic credentials of the nation is paramount. And as a government, we thought it wise and true that it was important for us to synergize these processes. This enactment is a hived-out enactment. It was part of the overall review of the 2004 Local Government Act. There's been extensive consultations nationwide, and that process has been completed. We have now awaiting legislative processes to start looking at that bill which has been presented by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. That bill, even though it hasn't been laid, it's waiting to be laid, is referred to as the 2021 Local Government Act, which seeks to replace or repeal the 2004 Local Government Act. I think for now, that's the information. And I think it's good for Sierra Leone, it's good for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Lamina, for this brief insight about the um, amended bill, local government amended bill. Mr. Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Trade, please. I know members of the press may have one or two questions for you, but I think you have an addendum and good news also for Sierra Leoneans here from the Afrizim Bank roadshow to Sierra Leone. Can you please just highlight that quickly? And after that, we take the business sector and the insurance sector, then we ask questions.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that when His Excellency Brigadier General took office, one of his main promises was to promote trade and development to ensure economic development in Sierra Leone. And true to his word, he signed onto the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in July and August 2018. And he also ensured that the AFCFC, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, was ratified by Parliament and the instrument was laid in the EU in November 2019, making Sierra Leone the 21st country to submit its letters of credence and instruments of ratification. Against that backdrop, Sierra Leone has been enjoying tremendous benefits and support from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And one of these benefits was its participation in the Intra-African Trade Fair 2021 in Durban, South Africa, where the delegation from Sierra Leone met key investors, including the Afri-Exim Bank. Afri-Exim Bank partners with the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat to promote trade in this continent. And it's the entity that is charged with responsibility to provide the Pan-African payment system, which eases the burden of small and medium enterprises in terms of trade within the continent. You will agree with me that in Africa we have about 42 currencies, and trading with those currencies poses a serious challenge for businesses and even countries themselves. Afrexim Bank is now here to support in that direction to ensure that we are able to trade easily. You pay in loans, you collect in Naira. And if you pay in loans and you collect your goods in Nigeria with Naira, it makes it easy for you to stop the habit of trying to collect dollars before you move to Nigeria or to Ghana to do business. Afrexim Bank has a series of products that are showcasing. And because we are able to have proper discussions with them, they are here on the 16th and 17th to do a roadshow to connect with all commercial banks to be able to get the Pan-African payment systems clearly defined and encourage our banks to take part in the Pan-African payment system. A pilot has already been done with Bank of Sierra Leone and it is successful using the West African Monetary Zone system. And so their visit here is to talk to the business community, talk to the banking community, talk to microfinance institutions to take advantage of the opportunities. They are not coming all by themselves, they are coming with other investors. The Oakwood Green Capital Limited, one of the institutions that has a serious stake in Keystone Bank. And they are also coming with the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat to sell their products and encourage them to take advantage, to continue to take advantage of the opportunities that are bound within the African continent and region. So we're inviting the press to be in that meeting on the 16th and the 17th February at this same room, starting at 8 a.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That's just a media alert for you to know about the banking system, how it's going to be improved. And my understanding is that this bank, instead of you looking out for dollars, you can pay in our local currency through that bank, and they would further transmit your money to wherever you want it in their local currency. So that will save our neck from the dollarization. Thank you very much, sir. On this note, following lots of rumor mongering on social media, and like they said in the update, recently we were up on Radio Tuesday to educate our folk and members of the press, including the citizenry in Sierra Leone, about fake news and that's the misuse of the internet. A lot of rumor there, and some people cannot confirm. They copy paste and just send, which is another form of plagiarism under our Copyright Act. But I will not go there because the trade inspector is here. But notwithstanding that, we had quite recently rumor making rounds on social media that ECOWAS has suspended Sierra Leone from the ECOWAS brown card scheme. Just to say more on this and how true that is, or how libelous that is, or slanderous that will be, I have here with me Mr. Sheku Matia, who is the Deputy Commissioner of SLECOM, that is the Sierra Leone Insurance Commission, to educate us more about this so that we have the factual information that we may publish from various angles. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, government functionaries, various media houses, guests from the public, and viewers and all listeners. My name is Sheku Matia, and I'm the current Deputy Commissioner of Insurance. By the special grace of God, this coming May makes me 2 years in the current position. As a commission, our principal role is to regulate, monitor, and supervise the insurance industry in Sierra Leone. There are 12 insurance companies, 1 reinsurance company, and 9 insurance brokerage firms in Sierra Leone. The Syria Insurance Pool Office was established in 2005 by the Commission to coordinate the insuring of government properties stroke assets, including motor vehicles. This same office also handles the ECOWAS brand card scheme. Our commission has noted with great concern over the print media publication on negative headlines since the start of this year, 2022. And these publications have been given cause to launch a series of investigations into the said publication, and only to know that they are false, they are allegation, they are groundless, they are really unsubstantiated and far from the truth. The Commission has noted also that some unscrupulous and ill-informed individuals are using media platforms to mislead the public against the good works of the government and the insurance industry. One such publication is Provincial Times newspaper, dated Tuesday, 8 February 2022, volume 3, number 081. And there are other publications from different media houses. The front page headline reads, ECOWAS suspends Sierra Leone, no, ECOWAS suspends Saloon over 85,000. And it was mentioned that Sierra Leone has been suspended for not paying its contribution of $85,000 to the council in Togo. Again, the members of the Sierra Leone nationals have been attending meetings within referenced period. The Council of Bureau ECOWAS Branca Insurance Scheme in Togo, signed by Permanent Secretary General Mr. Wilfred Kwasi, sent a letter to the Commissioner of Insurance in Sierra Leone that Sierra Leone vehicles are not allowed to enter any ECOWAS country, and no foreign vehicles should enter Sierra Leone until Sierra Leone honors its commitment to the General Council. I want to state here categorically to this press that all the statements above are baseless. They are misguided, and the public should not treat it with seriousness. And it should be treated or regarded as a distraction. In this regard, the facts we have at hand is what I'm going to read to debunk the newspaper publication. The Extraordinary Assembly decided to remove the voting rights from both Liberia and Sierra Leone at Branca meetings, pending completion of payment of their arrears. And this was done in April 2018. Then two, outstanding as of 30th December 2021 amounted to $88,852,000. And that of this year, which is 2022, amounted to $39,830,000. Added to my statement here, it has already been noted again that Sierra Leone has not been paying their contribution. That again is far from the truth. I have records in my possession, and even the resolution passed at that particular same meeting. I want to thank you all.
It speaks like an insurance broker, straight to the point, and leaves the other for you to digest, especially with the adjectives we use to qualify his statement, to debunk the whole thing. So, members of the Fourth Estate, colleagues all, you have now the floor to ask pertinent questions with no preamble, but straight to the point. And then later my team will join me to moderate this session. So, Biko, please.
Yes, we move on to Ademi at the back.
I'm Ademi, and I work for both Justice Radio and also Freedom Radio. I have a couple of questions for the panelists. Let me start first with the Minister of Local Government. Of course, um, sometime last year, people, Sierra Leoneans were anticipating that the local government, local council election will be conducted this year, 2022. Now that Parliament has already done an amendment to the Local Government Act in terms of increasing the tenure of office of local government officials, are we still going to wait till 2023 for the local council's election being conducted alongside with the presidential and parliamentary election? Also, you heard about the impasse, the impasse at the Freetown City Council. A few days ago, of course, councillors signed a document that they have agreed to remove their deputy mayor from office on allegations that of corruption and also abuse of office. And a copy of that letter was sent to you. Can you confirm as to whether you have received that letter and what is the ministry's stance on the decision which councillors have already taken in terms of removing the deputy mayor? Let me
Thank you
come
very
to.
much. Ademi, two, please.
But we have different people today.
Okay.
Let me come to the Ministry of Trade. With regard to the MOU just signed between the minister and the gentleman from Mayo, in your brief presentation about the MOU, you mentioned that the forestry area which the company is presently working on will be one, will be transformed into something that like finished goods. Can you tell us what are some of the things that will be producing for that forestry? And also, we have a division, the forestry division at the Ministry of Agriculture. And I noticed that they are not here. Why? Because we have the Ministry of Trade, they have the Ministry of Agriculture, and that area has to do with forestry, and they have a division under the Ministry of Agriculture. Is the Ministry of Agriculture part of the MOU which your ministry has already signed with the company? Let me come to the gentleman from the insurance company. We are a bit confused over your presentation. You took time to read extracts from the Provincial Times newspaper, but what you did not do is to clarify some of the allegations. What we want to know is CRO still a member of the West Africa Insurance Council or not? Can you please clarify some of your statements? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes. Welcome to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Hassan Al-Mamikama, Independent Observer, Minister of Local Government. Sir, the increase of the term of office for the local government officials, don't you think this will create another way for maybe the parliamentarians or the president to use this as a way for an increase in the term of office? That's for you, sir. And again, to the Minister of Trade, sir, it takes me not to be in the Ministry of Trade to say that things are still not going well in the country with regard to the standard of living and the way prices are hiking. Sir, what can you do with 4 years down the line in order for you to captivate the minds of Sierra Leoneans now that we have barely a year to go to the 2023 election? Thank you, sir.
Yes, we move over to you, sir. Over there.
Joseph Saidu Bombatui is my nomenclature. I want to start from the representative for the Pan-Africa Bank. Looking at the local content policy, and there is no room for improvement towards our people, towards that kind of sector. For the Western world improve themselves through by the local content policy. What are the challenges that this bank, especially Pan-Africa, is facing? Because Pan-Africa Bank is the hope of all Africans, but there is no hope for all Africans. So, what that is the bank priority and policy. I want to move also to the area of and from the insurance side. Why Sierra Leone was removed from voting rights, as you emphasize. Why Sierra Leone was removed from the voting rights? Don't you think that there are some indicators of benchmark towards rating and ranking that we fail to undergo? That we are not entitled towards voting rights. Looking at the area of voting rights. So what kind of glamour do you want SMU to celebrate when Sierra Leone has been removed from the voting rights? Do you really know about your indicators? So what rating and ranking of international benchmark? Are you really practicing those policies that can emphasize towards your presentation?
Sir, can you please come up, please?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's about
Please
the
come
issue.
up, please.
Okay, and also I want to look in the area of local government. In the area of governance system, democracy prior to what election, we can say it is a festival. Election is a festival of democracy. But now we have seen that member of the incumbent party is also a PC representative from the Samaya Bendugu chiefdom. That's a local government. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. People are well grounded about it. Look at about that issue of a present member of parliament and also entitled as a paramount chief. Are we contravening our constitution or trying to suit our political interests?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And
lastly, now hold it there. I mean, you are not. It's not a commentary platform. Rather, ask questions.
Yeah,
it's opinionated. All right. Thank you very much. And if you have any other question for the local government minister, we just accommodate 2 more because it has another busy schedule, right? So we just take it quickly, go to the question straight, right? And not commentary or opinions. Thank you very much.
Take Constance and Mr. Kawa.
Good day to you. My question is for the Ministry of Trade. We have signed lots of international treaties, but
Constance, do you have any questions for the Minister of Local Government? We want to be specific so you can answer the questions.
I'm not sure.
Okay, do anybody have any question for the Minister? Yes. We'll come back to you, sir. All right. Yes.
Of course, I watch newspaper, a lot of videos of and this video comments. Honorable Minister, if, I know you stated that the local council is now constituted for 4 to 5 years. As rumors go, we'll also be expecting more additions to parliamentarians and presidents of the Republic also in the near future. Thank you. How you were the last time you came here, you told us there were 60 paramount chief elections to be conducted by your ministry. Can I humbly ask you, sir, how many have been conducted? How many petitions have been got? How many have been decided? And how many are in the waiting?
Yes, we hold on it. We come back to your other questions. We ask the minister to reply and then we'll come back to it. The minister wants to leave, please.
Thank you very much for the interest you've all exhibited in local governance. I'll go straight to the answers. Whether elections will be held in 2023 for local councils. That's exactly what it means. Sorry? 2023. This bill seeks to extend the term from 4 years to 5 years. And once it's done, the commencement date will be immediate. Now, someone asked about whether the ministry or I have received a letter from the councillors from Freetown City Council with regards to their intention to remove the deputy mayor. On the 8th of February, which is the same day that we were in Parliament for the ratification of this bill, we received a letter from councillors from Freetown City Council, dated the 4th of February, proposing that they had the intention of removing the deputy mayor. As a ministry, I have given directives to have a meeting with the councillors of Freetown City Council. The action of the councillors in Freetown City Council is not within the law as indicated in the 2004 Local Government Act. And I have to say, the spirit that guides the removal of a city mayor is the same spirit and processes that guides the removal of a deputy mayor. In this instance, the councillors have not profiled tangible reasons that the ministry would actually look at to determine whether the process of removal should actually commence. They cannot on their own, using an establishment committee, investigate a deputy mayor on issues of financial malpractice. We believe that would be unfair. So, whoever is holding that position, what the ministry would have expected is for them to do their own preliminary investigation and provide a report to the ministry for consideration. The ministry would have looked at the report and then determine whether it deserves the credence for removal of a deputy mayor. I think we have to be very clear that the law should prevail. With regards to parliamentary and presidential increase, somebody asked the question whether this is a precursor for increasing presidential and parliamentary tenure. I cannot predict the future. What has happened now is what I can talk about. And any determination of tenure is one that goes through normal processes and procedures as the current Act has done. The current Amendment Act is gone through constitutional review, debated in Parliament, and then passed. So then it becomes law after it receives presidential assent. The issue of the elected paramount chief in Sambaya still serving as an MP, I cannot comment on because it's a matter before the court. And any comments from my side would obviously undermine the court. How many elections of PCs? I would have to pass that on to the Director of Local Government to assist.
Thank you very much. We've done about 26 paramount chieftains elections, and we have 51 vacancies at the moment. So from that direction, I think that is what I have to say. But what I want to say in allaying your fears and heightening your confidence that the process of conducting paramount chieftains election is procedural, it's structural, it's not a quick fix. At times, even people who are up there move differently. So what we are saying here is you conduct an election today and you have a PC elect, because that is a procedure. When we have an election today, we declare the winner, he or she, as customs and tradition demand, is declared paramount chief elect until you are recognized by the president before gazetting. So it is structural and at times systematic. It's not automatic. So we had 48 vacancies a few months ago, let's say a month ago, and suddenly we added. It was reduced, not the added. After 6 months of election at Baraule, that is Falabachi, then we lost that one. Then we have Dembele Sinkunia, is another issue. So we have Imperial and other places. So it's not so it's a challenging track. We move forward, then we step backward. So that is it. But I want you to be relaxed and see what we are going to do. Our team is a credible team, and when we reach our final destination with our processes and programs, it will yield the expected dividend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. We appreciate your questions, and then keep them coming. We'll also always appreciate engaging you, not only in free time, but locally when we travel, because that's where the work is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, we move on to the other guest. Move on to PS. That was a question on Tigate.
Thank you. There are two questions. One, the products that MIRO will produce. I wish we had listened very keenly to both the minister and the MIRO representation. Then they highlighted two key ones: electric volts, which they said is going to be the best in West Africa because of the quality, and also plywood or hardboard as you call it, which is being imported for now, and we hope that once we come into operations, we'll see instead of importing, we will be exporting. And then of course there will be other agricultural, products that will come out of it, like furniture for chairs, for schools, etc., etc. And the arrangement is that at least 30% of your product will be sold locally, so that you can satisfy the internal market. The second one relating to the standard of living. The minister did say that he's going to be there next week to throw more light on that. But as you know, this issue is not just confined to Sierra Leone. It's a global issue. We all know what has happened around the world. And what COVID has taught us is that we should rely on internal production of food, so that in the event we have a catastrophe like COVID that will create impediments for the importation of food, we cannot starve. But we don't know what is going to happen next. Probably some catastrophe or a pandemic will occur that will prevent people from moving from one part of the world to the other. So if you don't have your own means of production of food, then that's an issue. So that's all I need to say, that the issue of standard of living in terms of costs, whatever, it's not confined to Sierra Leone, it's a global thing. Government has done its own to ensure that there is sustained supply. It might not be at the price we expect because of several factors. Freight charges have quadrupled, limited supply because shutdowns in other countries, there is competition, and so forth and so on. But I'm sure when the minister is here next week, he will do more like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS. We move on to the insurance. We are coming to the second round of questions. We move on to the.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yes, there was a question on agriculture.
Why is agriculture not there?
Yes.
If you listen to me, I did say that this particular agreement is as a result of the two-sector approach, agricultural sector and industry. Agriculture, they are confined to production. They produce the raw materials. But when it comes to value addition and rest of it, that is the trade issue. So MIRO, before they set up the forest, had already got arrangement with the Ministry of Agriculture that allowed them to access the land, etc., etc. But before we even got the agreement, as I said, we had consulted with related ministries. We got the concurrence from the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment, Finance, etc. So the fact that they're not here cannot impede the signing of the agreement because we've already got their concurrence and their own participation is actually limited to production. Value addition is a trade issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, so to the insurance company. We're coming back for the second round of questions.
Thank you very much. Members of the media. I have on record two questions. One is, are you still a member of ECOWAS Bank? That you can be replaced with Sierra Leone. Is Sierra Leone still a member of ECOWAS Bank? And the next one is, why was Sierra Leone removed from the voting rank? The first answer is, Sierra Leone is still a member of the ECOWAS rank. As I speak, we are never in possession with any documentation from the Secretariat in Togo that has suspended us from being a member of the ECOWAS rank. And up to this morning, I'm still in constant touch with the Secretariat. There is nothing with that one. And the office is still operational. Thank you very much. With regard to the second question, I have with me the Technical Director of Insurance. I would like him to make mention about it once I
Why Sierra Leone?
Yeah, it is not.
Why Sierra Leone was removed from the voting rights? You see, sometimes when people receive information, they need some kind of a detailed explanation so that they will be able to have an informed decision. You see, we have been paying our dues from Sierra Leone to the Secretariat in Togo. But you will agree with me that you don't just pay, for example, when you receive statements from the Secretariat that Sierra Leone has to pay X amount, this is what you should pay at this particular period. You don't have any breakdown, you don't have any statements, you don't have any reconciliation from the other party you are paying. So we will be having these challenges. We said, give us a detailed breakdown of what you have paid for what period and what is outstanding. Then we'll move forward. That has not been coming from the other party. So, you know, during these meetings, sometimes if you are not adequately represented in the meeting, they take some kind of decisions wherein it will not be fair on your own part. But removing somebody from a voting right does not mean that the person do not have the right to attend meetings. All of you know that. It is the only thing that when it comes to voting, you will not partake. And this was done in 2018. From 2018 to now, moving forward, we have a very cordial relationship with the Secretariat. As we heard from the Deputy Commissioner of Insurance, we are in touch with them. they started sending the statements. I think we have some of them also, clarifying the situation so that we know exactly at which point we are scheduled as a country, we are outstanding, then we are ready to settle that amount. And even recently, yesterday, $20,000 was also paid to the secretariat while waiting the final statement from the secretariat. This is the situation.
Thank you very much. We move on to the other sets of questions. We will just take 4 questions because of time. Yes, Mr. Kamal. Sorry, the man at the back, Nancy.
Yeah. I'm Ibrahim, and I write for the Heritage newspaper. This one goes to the Deputy Commissioner. Mr. Commissioner, in the letter dated 21st September 2021, a consortium calling itself Consortium on Social and Economic Reform made a very serious allegations against the Commission that they'd written a series of correspondence for the Commission to probe into the activities of international insurance company. But as they claim that they are willful refusal to probe into short concern being raised by the consortium, that the commission itself is abating and conniving with insurance companies to willfully rob Sierra Leoneans. And as we speak, they said 22,000 Sierra Leoneans are victims, which include the army, the police, and nurses as well. So what is the commission's stance on that?
Thank you very much. We move on to Dunstant. Dunstant, after Dunstant, Mr. Kamal. Then any other person.
Thank you. My question is for the Trade Ministry. With the kind of reform ongoing in the ministry, I want to know what is the status of Sierra Leone trade negotiators? Because then there was no qualified trade negotiators in the ministry. So what is the current status?
Yes. Mr.
I'm a respected permanent secretary, sir. With due respect to you, sir, on behalf of the my colleagues here present, I want you to go back to the office of the minister that in London, when you take an investor to a press conference, you shouldn't go out until you give the opportunity to the media, to the colleagues to ask that particular question. This is radio. We are not internet, with due respect to the minister himself. But it doesn't, his paper doesn't go well with me as a veteran. 2, I was blacklisted by MIRO. Because when they first came to this country, they had a lot of struggle with blacks with the people of Leone who fought for their rights. And today, if there's any secret between MIRO and the government of the Republic of Sweden, we appreciate. But what I wanted to ask is not you going to ask the question whether what would be the quota to those landowners who were beaten up, some killed evidently, some admitted at a hospital, of which we took advice. Now that they assigned a secretary with the government of Sweden to further their investment, but it's out, and that doesn't go well with me at all. Yes, sir. You will agree with me, sir, Deputy Commissioner, that a pact with a regional pact is a regional pact. It does represent the interest of the people of Sierra Leone. The journalist in question is a friend of mine. He was there, but because of their bureaucracy, the security officer in question didn't allow him to go upstairs. I was also there the other day to ask you what you had a promise that you made to the nation that you're going to take care of some victims of insurance the other day. I went there to ask what was the progress, and I was not allowed to go in. So what you said, the allegation that you made against the media, I just want to go to your defense, sir, that we do it good, perfectly good, we're not perfect, but sometimes bureaucracy does not allow us to get right to you people. Only that when you go to the media, that people will come and contest what we've written.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, one more.
I just want to ask you the last question, sir, and perfectly began.
No, you have asked two, sir. Let's move on to someone else. Yes. It will be the last. And then we have a response from the guest.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is John We Prosper from the Osaka Media Platform. This is going through the Ministry of Trade. As the agreement was signed, country, we are battling for this climate issue. And the company, which was sign an agreement with the Ministry of Trade, do you think that um, our country is going to face series of climate issue by cutting down of our trees and all?
Thank you very much. We move on to the expert. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Let me start from the last. On the contrary, this particular agreement is an advantage to Sierra Leone because they are not cutting down the natural trees. They are cutting down their own trees that they have planted. If you listen very clearly, Lisa did say that the area they acquired around my 91 was like the savannah area. If you go there now, that actually has been turned into rainforest. And in fact, we are told that even the humidity in that area has increased. There are more rain there now than before. And that particular model is going to be replicated. And we did hear from the MIRO itself that they are going to have outgrowers so that whoever is interested in planting trees in their own locality can contact them. They will be able to provide the technical support. So, and he also mentioned about the carbon credit that will accrue from this particular endeavor that they have been engaged. So, on the contrary, it will actually help us to mitigate climate change because instead of cutting down the natural forests, they are helping us to grow. The concern from the veteran, I have noted it, but I can assure you that the action of the minister was not in any way intended to spite you. Rather, it's because if you realize it came a little bit late, because he was in the middle of a very important meeting with some foreign members. So he actually just came to honor this invitation as a sign of respect to you. And because what issues came, that was why he had to move to continue what he was doing. But I will take note of that. With regard to what quota will accrue to the landowners, I wish if you were in Parliament when this particular agreement was debated, but the MP, who is the representative of the communities, actually commended the MIRO for the intervention they have done in that area, the jobs that they have created. And in fact, when it is payday in my 91, you can go there and see the orgy and the frenzy of happiness and, you know, with the eyes of the community. And we're probably at the initial stage, they did not understand the benefits of this agreement. But I think since I came to the ministry and since we started this agreement, and we have made several visits to the area, we have not seen any hostility from the local community. So I think the company, whatever mistake they might have, might have arisen initially, has actually been regularized, and there is some synergy between themselves and the underlying communities, and they will continue to on to their corporate social responsibility. They are even providing scholarships to students who are studying in the Canadian College that is located in Manitoba. And they have also highlighted what are benefits that we accrue in terms of helping even the construction of schools. I recall I even received a letter from the city MP. They are requesting them to support the construction of the particular schools they did. So I think there has been a very good working relationship with the communities. Status of Sierra Leone trade negotiators. Yes, we are reforming the ministry, but when it comes to negotiations, we normally rely on the law office. And I recall sometime last year, the SY Attorney General did mention that no ministry should usurp their responsibility. That when it comes to legal issues, they are in charge. And whenever we have requests or we have offers from overseas to train people in negotiations relating to whatever aspect of trade, we normally refer it to the Ministry of Law Officers Department, and they normally send law officers to us to take part. So I don't think we'll have issues there because we have the support of the officers who are providing technical support in that area. Thank you.
Yes, before we move on to Sierra Leone Insurance Commission, there was a question for the African Bank, and you would like to respond to that question.
Thank you very much. We are mindful of the fact that Africa's trade within itself is very, very low. Trade within Africa is not up to 15%. And heads of states have realized that we can do better if we trade among ourselves as a continent. And this is not strange. You have the NAFTA in America, you have the ASEAN agreement, and this has been the dream of our forefathers, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Nyereres, the Haile Selassies. And so we have realized that there is need for us to have a regional integration framework, which is the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which was signed on the 31st March 2018 in Rwanda, Kigali, Rwanda. And that creates a platform for us to carry out trade within the continent with a view to ensuring that we can realize better results within Africa. And as I speak to you, the Intra-African Trade Fair in Durban in 2021 November generated $42 billion in trade agreements. $42 billion in just a week when we had the Intra-African Trade Fair. And we shall be having the third Intra-African Trade Fair in Abidjan. So once we have realized that, we will create enough room for small and medium enterprises, especially youth and women, to be able to trade. Cross-border trade is a very lucrative business within the continent. And so what we're talking about is now looking at a market of 1.2 billion people with a GDP of $4.5 to $7.5 trillion. And I think you are agree that that is huge. So what we're doing now is creating the framework for us to take advantage of that. This is why when we went to South Africa, we encourage institutions like Afrexim Bank, which is now the intermediary to create the Pan-African payment systems. And we had institutions like Blue and Capital. And there are a lot of people who want to take advantage of this. So be assured that we are on the right track as a continent, and be sure that under the leadership of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, we'll create the right platform for SMEs and youth to benefit. And then we'll stop this movement across the, what we call the temple run. Once we establish that platform where business is very, very lucrative, I am sure this temple run will stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speak up.
Thank you very much. The first journalist that asked the question about the consortium. My answer to your concern is that as I speak, there is a journalist in my office waiting to interview me. Sorry. So as I speak, there is a journalist in my office waiting to conduct an interview with me on the issue of this consumption and whatever thing that involves it. So when the question has come up, I really see it as an opportunity to at least make one or two statements about it. To start with, the newspaper publication done by the consortium is done at our own surprise. As a commission, we are deeply surprised over the action to make certain publications. What the commission knows about is that sometime in, I think, October or September last year, the commission received a letter of concern from this consortium highlighting areas of dissatisfaction. And the commission Because the 2016 Act gives us the mandate to establish a complete bureau which mediates any disputes in the public as even within the insurance company, of which I am the head. We use that particular opportunity to start the mediation between the one raising the cost, which is the consortium, and the defendant, which is the IIC. We have done our level best. There are correspondences, there are meetings held to get facts from the accused. From last year, I think October or November, September, October, we have been under enormous pressure from the consortium to take a decision based on their own assertion that such and such allegations have been conducted from their own findings, and they are in their right position that we should act. And in fact, in the allegation, they said we are abating the situation, of which we are never doing that. So we have continuously told them to exercise patience, in as much as my boss and I are new officers in the office. We have to do justice to whatever action we do. We cannot just take decision from hearsay. And from the start of this year, there are a series of negative publications from consortium and even other insurance-related issues, of which they are not true. I want to take this opportunity to talk or make an appeal to us all here that whenever a news media house wants to make publication on any insurance-related matter, please go to our office. We are Sierra Insurance Commission. It is never National Insurance Company. Some people misunderstand the issue. Sierra Insurance Commission. We are not even a company or a commission. Yeah, we have our office at East Station. So I want to take this opportunity to really tell you that the investigation is still under, the matter is still under investigation, and let us please exercise patience as we try to draw the conclusion about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Then the last person. My uncle there said he has tried his level best to make.
So I'll attempt to talk to you people, but just as you went to see the view, I'll excuse you on that, but I've tried on many occasions, sir, to do justice.
What office did you go, sir?
It's not an insurance commission.
Where? Where?
You've given me the address at East Station.
East Station? You might have gone to another office.
Where?
At East Station. Our office is widely open for public attention.
I said,
okay, you will
the
not take
security
that.
officer in question, they didn't allow me to talk to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamara.
Thank you.
You missed the address, and so this is how we'll be cutting down on this.
Great to confirm.
Thank you.
We want to thank members of the state for coming, and also our guests who have made this day a very happy one. Thank you very much.